All right, let's kick things off with a cool idea. Imagine your body is this amazing high-tech fortress, and you've got this elite 24/7 security team keeping it safe. Well, that's basically your immune system, always on the lookout for invaders to keep you healthy. But here's a wild question for you. What happens when that security team gets its wires crossed? What if your own protectors start attacking the very fortress they're sworn to defend? It's a crazy scenario, kind of like friendly fire in a battle, and it happens way more than you might think. So let's dive right into that. Section 1, what happens when the body's defenses go wrong? When this happens, it's called an autoimmune disease. And it's exactly what it sounds like. Your body's security team, for some reason, just can't tell the difference between a bad guy and, your own healthy cells. So it starts this friendly fire campaign. And that's the heart of the problem we're going to unpack today. Okay, so if there's friendly fire, who's actually pulling the trigger? Well, it's time to meet one of the key players in this whole drama, a type of immune cell called the TH17 cell. Now, normally, these 17 cells are the good guys, for sure. They're part of that security team helping to fight off real threats. But sometimes they get a little overenthusiastic. Think of them like security guards who get so pumped up they start tackling everybody, not just the intruders. And when they get that overactive, they stir up a lot of inflammation and cause a whole lot of chaos. And that chaos, it can show up all over the body. Overactive TH17 cells are connected to a whole bunch of autoimmune conditions. We're talking rheumatoid arthritis that attacks the joints, psoriasis that hits the skin, inflammatory bowel disease, type 1 diabetes, the list goes on. It really shows you just how important it is to keep these cells chilled out and in balance. So if the TH17 cells are these over-the-top guards, is there anyone who can step in and tell them to calm down? Well, that brings us perfectly to our next section, the hunt for a potential peacemaker. See, it really all boils down to balance. On one side, you've got the troublemakers, our TH17 cells, driving all that inflammation. But on the other side, you have the peacemakers. These are called regulatory T cells, or T-reg cells for short. And their whole job is to keep the immune system from going completely haywire. It's like this constant tug of war inside your body. And this is where a really interesting compound called Astaxanthin, or ASX, enters the story. Researchers are looking into whether ASX can act like a diplomat in this whole conflict. The theory is that it might be able to help out the peacemaker TrEG cells. Give them a boost so they can calm down those rowdy TH17 cells and bring back that all-important balance. A diplomat sounds pretty cool, right? But how would it actually work? Let's take a peek under the hood at the science. So deep inside our bodies, everything is run by these super complex communication channels. Scientists call them molecular pathways. The easiest way to think about them is like rule books that tell all our cells what they're supposed to be doing. And the research suggests that astaxanthin might work by tweaking a couple of these really important rule books. We're actually looking at two main ways that could help out. First, by quieting down the body's inflammatory alarms. And second, by boosting its own natural defenses. So let's break down each of those steps. Okay, so the first communication channel is called the NFKB pathway. You can think of this one as the body's fire alarm system. It's the thing that rings the bells and gets inflammation going. The research suggests astaxanthin might be able to go in and just turn down the volume on those alarm bells, keeping things from getting way too loud and out of control. Then you have the second channel, the NRF2/HO1 pathway. This one is all about defense. It helps crank up the body's own antioxidant systems. These are like the thick castle walls that protect our cells from stress and damage. So it's pretty cool. While astaxanthin might be turning down the alarms with one hand, it could be beefing up the castle walls with the other. Now, all of this sounds really promising, I know. But this is the point where we absolutely have to pause for a super important reality check. And this right here is the single most important thing to take away from all of this. Astaxanthin is not, let me say that again, not an FDA-approved treatment for any autoimmune disease. It is not a cure. It's not a magic pill. What we've been talking about is simply a fascinating area of ongoing scientific research. So here's what you really need to remember. First, everything we've talked about is based on early research. We have a long way to go. Second, astaxanthin is a supplement, not a medication or a cure. And third, and this is the big one, Always talk to your doctor or another qualified healthcare professional before you try any new supplement. They're the only ones who can guide you on what's safe and right for your own personal situation. Exploring compounds like astaxanthin just opens up so many amazing questions. It really makes you wonder, what other secrets are just hiding out there in nature waiting for us to discover them? It's a really exciting field to keep an eye on. Thanks so much for joining me today.